Hey guys, thank you so much for downloading and listening to this episode of On the Beat. Have you rated or reviewed us yet? If not, why? The best way for us to grow is by sharing us with your friends and rating and reviewing us wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify has a new rating feature right on our podcast front page. It is super easy, and the more 5-star ratings and reviews we get, the better it is for us to grow. If you screenshot and DM us your review, we'll share the most flattering ones on an upcoming episode. Thank you so much for listening, and your support is marvelous and appreciated. Oh my gosh.
What's Amanda doing here? No.
I
think that's kind of how it... No. See, it's no.
Just
I can't
do a Father
seem to
Ted.
Let's do a Father Ted. Down with that sort of thing.
Well, hello there. Welcome to On the Beat, the podcast that uncovers full frontal male nudity in cinema. My name is Laura, and I am joined by my amazing, incredible, wonderful co-host, Ryan.
I mean, I'm always here. It's not like I'm like in terms of the introduction. Like the introduction might need changing eventually, because they will expect me to be here unless you say otherwise.
That's true.
Because I'm sure there'll be an episode at some point where I'm not here.
Maybe.
You know, like I'll set it to record and I'll be like, guys, you have fun. And then I fuck off to the pub. Or I say,
don't go without me.
Or I do that Stephen King thing where I'm just like, I'm going out to get a pack of cigarettes.
Did Stephen King do that, or was it his father that did that?
I think his father that did that, yeah.
Ouch.
So, yeah, traumatizing for him. But, yeah.
Speaking of traumatizing, are you ready to talk about the 1992 thriller drama, The Crying Game?
This isn't traumatizing.
Well, I was just trying to,
this was a
roll
segue.
it in. It's a little bit traumatizing.
Okay.
At least for our main character, Fergus, played by Stephen Rea. This movie also stars Jay Davison as Dill, Miranda Richardson as Jude, Forrest Whitaker as Jody, and directed by Neil Jordan, our very first Neil Jordan.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe our only Neil Jordan.
Yeah, I'm kind of assuming this is our only Neil Jordan.
As far as I know from looking at the list,
yeah,
I got nothing else on Neil.
Yeah, I feel like, I guess like in the pantheon of like the rest of his work, contextually, what we're talking about today is spot on personally. But let's,
in terms of being amazing. Yeah,
because the dick reveal for this film is pivotal to the plot of this film.
Oh yeah.
So
it's a game changer for...
Yeah, it's a crying game changer.
Yeah.
So let's kind of get into Neil Jordan, and we're going to give him the same justice we give everybody else. So Neil Jordan, he's an Irish film director, screenwriter, novelist, and short story writer. When he first started, he worked for like Irish television, but he got one of his biggest breaks when he worked with John Boorman of Deliverance fame.
Oh, right. I'm not going to watch that movie.
Zardos.
Oh,
as well.
Okay.
The Sean Connery movie.
I won't watch Deliverance, but I fucking love Zardoz.
There's nothing wrong with Deliverance. Well,
we've got Zardoz on Blu-ray, and that commentary is phenomenal.
I mean, you'll sit and you'll watch like a Lars von Trier, like an Antichrist,
yeah,
or The House That Jack Built that we watched recently, but you won't sit and watch Deliverance.
No. And I'm not saying I'll never watch it, but I don't want to watch that movie.
Okay.
I'm not going to put myself through something I know is going to be absolutely horrific.
I don't know if I said this, but I think I'm going to re-watch all of the films on my favorite films list to find out if they're still my favorite.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I think that's a really good idea.
Like out of the really, really big list that you have on Letterboxd, or maybe...
I cut it down to 55, but then some other stuff got added in recently, and I thought, well, look, I need to make this definitive so that I can move on with my life.
I change my top 4 every once in a while, but it's very rare.
Yeah, no, I've never changed my top 4, so I don't know if that's ever going to be the thing. We talk about favorite films because Crying Game is definitely up there as one of my favorite films. I think this film's really good, real good.
I hadn't watched it in maybe 20 years.
Yeah,
and it's better.
Yeah,
it's better than I remember.
I mean, we'll get more into it. I'll do my
sorry.
Yeah,
yes.
I'll do my Neil Jordan spiel. But yeah, This is another one of those films that Ryan likes. So he was working as, I guess, like the creative associate on John Boorman's Excalibur, and John later becomes the executive producer on Neil's first film, Angel, in 1982. So let's just say, like, in terms of just an all-around kind of perspective on Neil Jordan's work, I would say he has a relatively eclectic range of films. Some would also say that it's relatively idiosyncratic. I didn't know what that word meant quite a few years ago. I got that on a school report once.
What? That your work was idiosyncratic?
No, that I as a person was idiosyncratic.
I gotta be honest,
One of my
I'm not even
teachers.
sure what that means myself, and I was just gonna be quiet and pretend like I knew.
Yeah, I mean, we'll figure it out as we go along, but I'm pretty sure it means inherently flawed in one way or another. I was definitely told that this was in primary school as well. This is as a preteen, I was told that I was idiosyncratic, so... yeah.
Well, as a definition, it just means peculiar or individual. So maybe it's not as bad as you think.
Right.
That you have quite an individual type personality.
I fucking hate the Scottish school system. Let's just put it that way. I didn't come out of it feeling particularly fond of anyone, really. So let's continue on with Neil Jordan's filmography,
right?
right?
Yes, thank you so much.
So Angel, 1982. The Company of Wolves in 1984.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a kind of seminal work, I would say. Mona Lisa in 1986, which is a film that I haven't seen for a very, very long time. Bob Hoskins is in that movie.
Love a Hoskins.
Yeah, so I mean that is definitely one to look out for. High Spirits in 1988. We're No Angels in 1989. The Miracle in 1991. And then The Crying Game does come out in 1992. And then I guess like kind of other things. He's still working today. He's got a new film on the way called Marlowe.
Yeah, that's coming out next year in 2023.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, he's...
it's in the can.
They've got it in the can.
As they say.
It's in the can.
In the biz.
Yeah, well, it's about Philip Marlowe, and we're not going to bore our listeners who Philip Marlowe is. And
I don't want to bore them talking about...
Humphrey Bogart and... like the number of different people and actors who have covered the role. Yeah, from the Raymond Chandler books. Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
The one I liked, which was what, The Long Goodbye.
Yeah, the Elliot Gould.
I love that movie.
Yeah, Robert Altman movie.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I know I have one particular friend who will hate if I say that I don't like Humphrey Bogart. I'm so sorry. I still love you.
I don't know. Well, there's the Maltese Falcon. There's the Big Sleep. Like, it's not...
Yeah, Maltese Falcon.
Yeah, no, they're
boring.
They're classics. Anyway,
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, I guess, like, we've got The Crying Game in 92. And I guess just kind of as a segue, just to kind of, we'll wrap this all up in things. Like, he does Interview with a Vampire in 94. Michael Collins in 96, Butcher Boy 97, In Dreams and End of the Affair in 1999. And as far as I'm aware, 1999 is quite a big year for Neil Jordan. Those films are quite well received.
Yeah, he does a lot of films that I really like.
Yeah,
I can't think of any that I don't like.
Yeah. Oh no, I think that's. I mean, like I say, I think The Crying Game's probably one of his best, if not his best overall. But I do think Interview the Vampire and Mona Lisa are kind of very high up there. But he's still, he's still working today. His Breakfast at Pluto, The Brave One, that Jodie Foster movie.
Out of all of his films, Crying Game is probably your favorite.
It's definitely my favorite.
It's your favorite.
Yeah. It's a very strange beast.
Oh yeah.
Like it blends a lot of different elements together, and they technically shouldn't work.
You're absolutely right. And when you think about The Crying Game, you don't think about the plot as much as you think you would in a film.
Yeah.
Because when I read the synopsis again, and I hadn't seen it like in 20 years, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? This is about the IRA?
Yeah. That's
strange. So maybe I should read the synopsis for everybody. And here I go.
So that's the thing. It's as much about the IRA as Patriot Games is. As much as it's not the titular highlight of what the
no,
film's
of course
about.
not. But that is
he's also
a driving force in this film.
He's also no stranger to covering that subject matter, because Angel covers the Troubles.
Irish Republican Army member Fergus forms an unexpected bond with Jody, a kidnapped British soldier, in his custody, despite the warnings of fellow IRA members Jude and McGuire. Jody makes Fergus promise he'll visit his girlfriend Dill in London, and when Fergus flees to the city, he seeks her out. Hounded by his former IRA colleagues, he finds himself increasingly drawn to the enigmatic and surprising Dill. Do you want to know the tagline of this movie? I thought it was something different. I thought it was something like, "Don't tell our secret," or "Don't tell anyone." But the tagline I found was, "Play at your own risk." Which I thought was odd. I wasn't expecting that.
Well, here's the thing, and this is something that I think is indicative of the lack of this film's like general success, is the fact that the marketing and the way that it was put out there to a general audience, utter garbage.
Yeah.
Like it's completely misleading, like what the film is. And when you look at the posters and when you look at like the marketing materials for it, it's just not.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to pin down what it is, but
You've
then
no
you
idea
don't
what
want
it
to
is.
give anything away either.
No, but the thing is like you can quite easily take like what you said in the synopsis, and then that's what it is, you know. And it's because obviously of its involvement, you know, narratively with the IRA, like it was never going to ring particularly well in the UK. Like that was just not going to happen.
Right.
Even to this day, like I don't think it would still ring there. There's a lot of open wounds to do with that situation that just will never simmer down. So, no, that's a terrible tagline. It's not good at all, because it doesn't make any sense.
It's also strange that maybe not strange, but the original title of this film was The Soldier's Wife. And they ended up changing it because apparently Neil Jordan and Stanley Kubrick were friends. And Stanley Kubrick said that's not going to work because people are going to think that it's a war film. Yeah. And people don't want that. No,
that's fine. I mean, and apart from anything else, like it's not a wife either.
I know.
It's completely misleading. Well, I can understand it being the soldier because they are dealing with Forrest Whitaker, who is, you know, who plays Jody.
Yep.
Who's playing a black British soldier.
Yes.
So there is part of it that rings true, and I think that's fine. But yeah, the rest of it, doesn't really less than plussed over.
Yeah, it's weird, but the movie ended up obviously being The Crying Game, which is from the 1964 song by Dave Barry.
Yeah,
which plays over and over and over again. Yeah, love a titular song.
Yeah, well, I think the song only plays so many times because it's sung at the karaoke at the Metro, and then it's the final song in the end credit sequence that's, I think, sung by Boy George. It's his version of it. That kind of I don't think it's version, Boy George.
Is it?
I will say the score for this movie is very good. It's very memorable, and it definitely tugs in all the right places. It's a really nice complimentary score for the story that's being told here.
It's lovely.
I think it's really cool. But, I mean, as the film opens, I mean, here's another song, because this film does a very good job of being self-referential. I'm not too sure if
God, you're right. It was Boy George. My bad.
Okay, so...
I'm so sorry.
That's fine. I mean, it's only going to be the 7th apology that I'll actually accept, so we'll see what happens over the course of this episode. But the thing is like, this film opens and closes with two separate songs, which are kind of very self-referential as to kind of the narrative of it. So the opening song is When a Man Meets a Woman.
When a man meets a woman. Yeah, very interesting choice for an opening song.
But then it's also quite literal, because Jody is with Jude at the carnival.
Yes.
Which at this point is Miranda Richardson, you know, Forrest Whitaker. Jody's not sure who Jude is at this point. They're just a couple at the fairground.
Yeah, they're just having a nice time on a date.
Yeah, and not only that are we introduced to Forrest Whitaker, but we're introduced to his accent.
Oh my God, I don't think I would have been so bothered if I didn't realize that, if I know he's American.
Yeah.
So I'm automatically going to think it's strange.
Yeah.
And I'm automatically going to judge that accent.
You're right, darling. I think everything's going to be all right.
Oh, it's a scorpion in a frog.
Oof. It's, yeah.
I can't do any better. So.
Well, they're having a conversation, and at one point, Jodie says, "Oh, he's never offended," but then I was like, "I am." Well, the thing is, like, we were watching the behind the scenes stuff, and we can't really recommend the behind the scenes stuff. It's very dry.
I love behind the scenes. I love extra special features.
Yeah.
Especially the bloopers, which unfortunately this film did not have bloopers. Obviously.
Yes. It would have been nice to see Stephen Rea, like, maybe crack a smile for anything other than being told to crack a smile. But
he's adorable.
We'll get to. I love Stephen Rea, but at the same time, like, we're gonna get to his performance in this movie as well,
which is perfect.
But no, the yeah.
What did you call him? What did you call him when we were watching the movie?
Oh,
you go. I have a nickname for him.
Oh, monotonal Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're gonna be covering a lot of the monotonal stuff. Kind of comes out in the first half of the film, where it's basically him and Jodie talking as they have Jodie as a prisoner.
Yeah. Well, he's just trying to be a good IRA soldier and do his job. Yeah. He's trying to not be too friendly.
Yeah. Well, let's say there's many different kind of leaps, because in the behind the scenes stuff, they got like actual members of the IRA who were in prison and stuff like that, to kind of point out the fact that they're doing things that we wouldn't have done.
Yeah, they fact-checked them, and it's weird that they had former IRA members filmed for the special features telling the filmmakers what they did wrong in the film and how they wouldn't have done that, and I just think that's an odd choice for a special feature on a DVD.
Yeah, they would have been more useful back then.
Prior to when the film was released. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, to be fair, like, it's, not effectively kind of in the middle of the midst of it. Like, they're not going to do that. Like, that's never going to happen. But,
they're like, you've got IRA members who weren't even wearing a fake mustache. What are you thinking?
Oh, yeah. It's like, you're not wearing gloves. You're not even wearing a mask. You're not even concealing your identity. You're just running through the street with a fucking Tech 9.
They look like they're the only members of the IRA that ever existed. Just these few people.
But like, that stuff aside, like, if you kind of, because I didn't fucking know. Like, wasn't really too fussed about the whole thing.
No, you're just watching a movie.
You're just watching a movie. But there's the bit at the carnival where.
Oh my gosh, I hope you're going to talk about what I think you're going to talk about.
Like, I need to go for a piss.
Yes.
So he goes with it. Goes, like, grabs her by the hand, and they're running, and there's a tent.
A pee-pee
tent. It's like a fucking pee-pee tent, and it's got like this little cardboard sign up, and he's like, I held a girl's hand when I'd gone for a piss before. And then...
Wait, say that again?
He said, I'd never held a girl's hand when I'd gone for a piss before.
They're holding hands as he's pissing. He's pissing in this little tent. And here's the thing. There's two things that I want to say about this.
Okay.
And one of them is he stops peeing.
Right.
Comes out of the tent. And then touches her face with his piss hand.
Immediately with his pissy hand, yeah.
And just kissing Jude.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's the fact that obviously we're recording this episode because there is a penis in this film. And I know that most of you have seen The Crying Game. If you haven't, please go watch The Crying Game. What are you even doing listening to this if you haven't seen it? Yeah. So there will be spoilers.
This will completely ruin the film for you.
Yeah, I just want to say that flat out.
Yeah.
Definitely will ruin this film if you haven't seen it. Mm-hmm. But... you're set up in a way to not expect to see a penis. And there are, I believe, 3 instances before we actually get full frontal nudity.
Yeah.
To where you are just not... you just think, okay, well, I'm not going to see a penis in this movie. The first one is when Forrest Whitaker goes to take a pee in the pee-pee tent. Yeah. He goes in there. He's completely shielded. He pees, comes out, no penis. And you go, okay. You could have maybe shown him from behind or anything, but you feel safe in a way. You're like, okay, I'm not going to see anything. But that's the first time. I'll point out the others later. But I just think that's really interesting that, like, Neil Jordan wanted to, in a way, just not, he wasn't giving anything away.
Yeah, suspension
throughout the whole film.
Yeah, suspension of disbelief.
There's many penises we could have seen.
I feel like controversially, though, because of because of the way that it's revealed eventually, and because of the themes that the film itself is exploring, there's only so far they could take the film just in general. I feel like for the time, let's say early 90s, right? This is incredibly brave and daring and controversial, like, piece of work. Like,
yeah.
It just did not fly with anyone, any way, shape, or form, for whatever reason. Like, it just did not sing to anybody.
Subjects and several subjects within the film that are, not, I don't want to say controversial, and I don't even want to say taboo necessarily, but touchy perhaps, for people.
Yeah.
And it still works perfectly.
Yeah.
In its way, but yeah, I could see why it would annoy people, perhaps.
Yeah, and I think, because Neil Jordan talks a bit about, being a European filmmaker and how, going through the American system, he referred to it as a meat grinder.
Yeah.
So he'd already made a few films in the US. He comes back to the UK to make a bit more kind of personal, intimate works. And I mean, again, I think The Crying Game is probably the best out of the bunch, but it was a nightmare to make, as far as I'm aware. Like, the company that ends up folding, and the amount of financiers that are involved in the making of this film as well.
The fact that the producer who owned a movie theater had to go into the movie theater and take the day's earnings to pay the cast and crew so that they wouldn't quit. Like, that's how bad the financing was, and that's how hard it was on everybody.
Yeah.
To be able to just get it done. Because he goes,
rough.
if I didn't, Stephen Woolley, right?
Yeah.
He goes, if I didn't put a start date in, I don't know if it would ever have gotten done. Like, we just had to go, despite knowing whether or not we were actually going to get it financed properly.
Yeah.
What else did he say? He was talking about, like, sending a letter to Channel 4.
So he was hounding Channel 4, and he basically made, like, a kind of veiled threat that he was going to set himself on fire in the hallways. to ensure that he got the funding that they needed in order to finish the film. And even he's like, when he's reciting the story, he's kind of just like, he's like, say, oh, it's like tongue in cheek, but at the time he was like, I was probably more than capable of doing it to myself.
Yeah.
And
it was really important for him to get this done.
Yeah, I'm like, good for you, man.
What a good producer.
Good for you. Well done. In short, Jodie gets kidnapped by the IRA.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah. Fergus is walking around this carnival with a mullet from the gods.
Yeah.
This beautiful curly head of hair. This gorgeous mullet. And when he finally comes up and interacts with Jude and Jodie, he straight up kicks Forrest Whitaker in the face.
Yeah.
Kicks him right in the noggin. It was so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm laughing, but it's really funny. But yeah, he gets straight up kidnapped, and
there's
rough.
there's a fellow prisoner. I can't remember the place where he was being held, but there's a fellow prisoner. They were using it as like a prisoner transfer thing, and if they didn't release the person in time,
one of ours.
They were gonna shoot Jodie. But the first half of the movie is effectively a bunch of character development for Fergus, which is obviously Stephen Rea's character.
Yep.
Where we're introduced to more of the life of, I guess, being a member of the IRA, and also the backstory of the kidnapped soldier. And this is when we're introduced to the idea there, because the girl that he's with, called Dill, who's waiting for him back home.
Yes.
That's when that happened. That's when he shows him the wallet, and there's that fantastic camera tilt where it goes in at a canted angle. I was like, holy fuck, that's fucking cool.
That was really cool.
Yeah, that happens like once or twice in the movie.
Yeah, it also happens when he's standing outside of Dill's apartment.
Yeah, it kind of happens at like pivotal points in the narrative and things, which I think it's a nice kind of little visual cue.
You have the nice visual cue of the tilted angle, and then when Fergus opens up Jodie's wallet to look for the picture of Dill, he instead pulls out a picture of Jodie himself dressed up in his cricket sweater.
Yeah, he's got that thing in his wallet for some reason.
He has a picture of himself.
It's weird. It's very strange.
But then, there's the picture of himself and Dill in the wallet, and so he's like, if anything happens to me, go to her, tell her I was thinking about her at the end.
Yeah, they kind of form an inseparable bond, or at least like Fergus gives Jodie the opportunity to, you know, relax a little bit, kind of show his own person. And I mean, at the end of the day, you know, they are expected to shoot this man.
Yes.
You know, and for whatever reason, you know, we're not really 100% sure about just Fergus as a character, where he's been, what he's been up to and stuff like that. But he's showing quite a remarkable amount of remorse for, I guess, like in comparison to the rest of the crew, you know?
Well, because the rest of the crew wants Jody to keep his hood over his head so they don't see his face, you know? The more you see his face, the more you can connect with them, you know, the eyes are the window to the soul.
Well, in case he escapes, he's able to identify them.
Well, I know why
reason.
They want to do it, but he's the only one. Fergus is the only one that's kind of talking to him face to face and getting to know him.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they sent the most sensitive of all of the members.
Well, the thing is, like, I mean, if you have trouble like getting through like Forrest Whitaker's accent in this movie, also coupled with the fact that Stephen Rea is incredibly dull, just very slow, and nothing seems very interesting to him.
Well, he's very stressed. He's having a really hard time. He just wants these people out of his country.
I'll take a pint at the Crown. It was something. Well, I mean, they get to
He's
really...
a simple man with simple pleasures.
He is, yeah, and they establish that. It's just like, obviously, your simple pleasure is like, I'd like to go to the pub.
Don't we all?
Yeah, and that's when he introduces the Metro as well, the bar.
I didn't realize until they actually got to the bar called the Metro. I thought he was just drinking pints on the train.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, there you go.
I don't know why.
Yeah. So,
it's awesome.
They're sharing each other's stories. There's a story that's recited later on about the frog and the scorpion, which we're not going to recite because look it up. It's a moralistic tale. It's a fable. Just look it up online. It's
or watch the movie. You've seen the movie.
Yeah, or watch the movie, or just fucking type it into the Googles. You know.
I hope we're not going to skip over the part where Fergus takes Jody to go take a pee.
No, we're getting to that.
Okay. Because that is the second time in this film where you think you might see a penis and then you don't. So it's another time where Neil is wrapping you up in the safety blanket of no penises.
Yeah.
And it's very funny.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, the thing is, what you find is Jody has a massive problem with women. He doesn't like women at all.
In what way?
Because of Miranda Richardson's character.
What, she makes him hate women? Or did he hate women before?
I don't think he likes women at all.
Then why is he making out with her?
Because he's I think he was just getting something out of it.
Like a lonely man?
Aye. But every time he sees her, he's just like, fucking can't stand her.
Well, yeah, because she pistol whips him in the face.
Well, this is when you find out that women is not his type.
Well, yeah. Well, it takes a long time before you figure that out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I like when Fergus has to like put Jody's wiener back in his pants, and Jody's just
piece of meat.
There you go.
It's got no major diseases. Yeah.
I want to talk about what happens to Jody, unless you have something you want to say before it happens. Not that we need to walk through this whole thing, but I do like all these moments.
Yeah. Helicopter gunship.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So it comes down to the point where the British Army will
Jody.
not release their IRA member. Yeah. And so they're like, we got to shoot Jody. And of course, they're going to make Fergus do it.
Yeah.
The sweet softy.
Mm-hmm.
So Fergus walks him out into the woods, and, you know, Jody's been seducing him this whole time.
Yeah.
And not like sexually or anything. He's just, you know, as a friendship.
He's been biding his time.
You know?
Yeah.
And
he's been looking for a chance to escape.
Yeah, and just hoping that he has gotten through to Fergus in this way to be like, hey man, we are best friends. Please don't hurt me.
Yeah, please don't shoot me in the face.
And they make jokes. He ends up trying to run faster than Fergus, which is hilarious because that's not going to happen.
Why is that?
He's a big guy.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Runs around on the cricket fields.
But how much do you run on a cricket field?
Well, he's also pretty small. He's also technically meant to be a soldier in inverted commas. You know, I mean, that was one of the criticisms they had about him, was that he looked overweight and a bit too podgy to be a soldier, which I can kind of agree. But he's also, I think he plays it really, really well.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
But when, oh boy, it's so bad. It was so shocking.
Yeah, it's rough.
When Jody runs away, he ends up running into the street and in a partial half second tries to flag down a car, it almost looks like. Or is it just, or does it just happen? Does he not try to flag him down?
No, he runs into the middle of the road and a fucking truck just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and
like a big old Humvee.
Knocks him to the ground. Well, the first one knocks him to the ground. The second one, he gets caught under the fucking wheels and he's dragged along the road.
And he
is fucking dead.
Yeah, it's where it's so shocking because you go, oh no, Fergus might actually have to shoot
obvious,
this poor man.
It's obvious it's a fucking model, like it's a model body or something, and it's just a simple case of just like the truck's just gone over it. But
I'm in the moment.
It's shocking. Yeah, it's pretty fucking shocking.
I'm in the moment. I'm
and they cut to a close up of like actual Forrest Whitaker, like underneath the fucking car, like under the truck.
So bad.
Like his fucking face dragged along the tarmac.
Rough.
Claret everywhere. Fucking hell.
Yeah, and then the army with the helicopter just blows their little hideaway to smithereens.
Yeah, they fucked that place up good. That's it.
And luckily, Sweet Fergus is out in the woods trying to chase down Jody, so he's not involved in the destruction, and he stays alive.
Yeah, I like that. I like that moment. There's a lot of stuff about this film. You kind of feel like, I guess, like when the film starts, I feel like it seems relatively unremarkable just as a piece of cinema. But as it goes on, I feel like just the way it's directed and the way it's put together, and there's like some of the close-ups between Jodie and Stephen Rea, I think are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I think some of that stuff looks really, really nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's some better cinematography to come as well. Certainly when we see the Metro bar and things. So
we finally get to
London. But Fergus gets himself on a boat, gets himself over the water to London town.
Yeah.
And he basically he's seeking out Dill pretty much.
Yeah. It's like he wants to tell her what happened, but then it doesn't quite go that way. He gets entangled immediately.
Yeah.
Into her life.
Her web.
Yeah, her web.
Her giant hands.
Well,
giant web hands.
I like when we see Dill, and this is probably a little bit later, but when she's singing karaoke at the Metro bar, and she's singing the Crying Game, and so she gets to sing the titular line of the movie.
Yeah.
And I like that very much.
Well, Dill's played by, is it Jay Richardson, is it?
Davidson.
Jay Davidson. Because, this person's a relative unknown.
He had never acted before.
Yeah, no, this is like,
I think they found him at a bar somewhere.
Star material. Because I don't know if they acted in anything after this. I don't know if they did anything.
Yes, Jay Davidson played Raw in Stargate.
Fuck yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Classic.
kind of got out of the industry after that.
We might have had this conversation already.
Potentially.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, because the film industry can be fucking horrible. It can be
he's just like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Thanks for the laughs.
Thank you, Roland Emmerich. I won't bother with this again. But anyway.
Jim Broadbent is in this movie.
Oh, he's so good as the bartender.
He's so good.
Yeah, fucking bartender in a fucking waistcoat. As I put down in my notes, the philosopher pulling pints.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I always, every time that Dill is trying to have a conversation like with Fergus or Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
He's Jimmy now because he's got a new identity.
Well, he had to change his identity because he's a member of the IRA.
Oh, right,
Laura, come on.
Right.
That's not smart.
And Dill's having this conversation between like the bartender, like asking Jim Broadbent, the bartender, to like, oh, tell him I'd like a drink, and this whole like back and forth trying to be all
but
cute.
I mean it's trying to be cute though.
It is cute.
Yeah, it's definitely cute.
And I like that the bartender is totally okay with these jokes as long as the bar is not busy. And if the bar is busy, he's like, just ask him yourself. Stop talking to me.
Well, Jim Broadbent just in general, like I think he's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's got a relatively small role in this. But then there's also, who's the other guy? Is it fucking the guy that plays, is it Jimmy? Who's the other one? The fucking Dave, or is it Davey?
David.
Oh, Dave with the fucking
Jimmy is
tracksuit.
Fergus.
Yeah, and see, well, he's got 5 different fucking names.
Well, yeah.
And if we watch the alternate engine, he has another name.
Clive.
As well, Clive. God, doesn't look like a Clive.
No, he doesn't look like a
trying to
Jimmy
fucking
either. He looks
ham
like
it
a
up.
fucking Fergus.
It's just like, how many personalities can Stephen Rea have in one film? And the answer is 1.
Oh my God.
Monotone.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Dave shows up and he's a fucking
Yeah, he's not great. He's not a great person. I guess this is who...
tracksuit warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is who Dill had been dating before meeting Fergus, Jimmy.
Because the thing is, like, this is all... It's Fergus is 100% gonna get on Dill's good side. Like, that's it. Like, this is it. This is his plan. Like,
I don't
100%.
even know if it's his plan necessarily. I think it was like an accident. I think he just got pulled in.
Yeah.
And also from feelings of guilt, I'm sure.
I'm assuming so, yes.
You
I mean,
know?
he chased a man down with a gun who,
Yes.
yeah, irrevocably ended up under the wheels of a fucking truck, so
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
it would make anyone guilty. So,
There's this part where Dill ends up getting in an altercation with David, her ex-boyfriend, and it looked like they've been living together. And Fergus goes upstairs and with her, and she starts throwing David's stuff out the window, like
Yeah.
all of his clothes, all of his extra tracksuits, and then throws his fucking goldfish bowl out the window.
yeah, you didn't like this bit.
I was furious.
Yes.
There's a sad goldfish flopping around on the street.
The 90s is a different time.
And I'm like, you know, and what did I say? And it's the stupidest thing in the world, but I called her a villain. And then you said Dylan.
Dylan, yeah, she's a Dylan.
Dylan.
Yeah. It's
I'm
a
so sorry.
Dylan villain. Hey, look, if there's anything that I can provide for our partnership here is that I'll give you all these terrible jokes and all these terrible accents.
There's one more moment where you think you might see a penis and you don't. So it's another time. This is the last time where you think you might see it. Is where Jimmy Fergus goes upstairs with Dill and they start getting a little hot and heavy.
And she pulls his hand away from his crotch or her crotch.
Correct.
Right.
So she's like, not the time. But she goes down on him.
Yeah, I guess this is when we bring up the Jodie flashbacks as well.
My God.
Because like God. I mean, I really like this movie, but I mean, there's this weird bit, and I'm not even sure if there's probably some cricket, maybe someone who plays like cricket and bowls and stuff like that is on here, but if you're playing cricket, then I don't know.
Oh
but
my gosh.
At the same time, like, there's this slow-mo shot of Forrest Whitaker coming towards the camera, and it's all in bloom, and he does a cricket bowl, but it doesn't look good. It really doesn't look great. And I don't cricket bowl either, but it doesn't look very fluid. It looks very clumsy.
I don't know. I'll chalk it up to him making a memory of something that he's never seen him actually do.
Yeah, he's probably never done it before. No. I mean, what, you mean Forrest Whitaker?
Oh, yeah. Forrest Whitaker's probably never played cricket before.
No.
Has no idea what he's doing. But also our character, Jimmy Fergus, is like having a memory of something he's never seen. It's just like he's just making up this image.
Do you think that image stays in Stephen Rea's head rent-free for like the rest of his life?
Every time he comes.
Every time he goes to bed. Every time he gets a blowy.
Every time he gets a blowjob, he imagines Forrest Whitaker playing cricket.
Because that happens like 3 or 4 times. And then the other one's just him like tossing the ball around. He turns around, he walks away.
It's very weird.
It's very strange. I can understand why it happens and why it's there. It's a nice little visual thing, but at the same time, it does it bridges the gap between that dick going in Dill's mouth to then Fergus coming.
Yeah.
And it's
It's like the moment that like in a film where he would definitely have came, right? Like he definitely came. Is like the exact moment when you see Forrest Whitaker's face.
Also, like, I mean, if he did come, you wouldn't really notice it. He just kind of goes, ugh. And then that's it. He's just kind of, again, very kind of
gratuitous or anything.
Very kind of straight face. Well, it's not like it's not gratuitous or not. I mean, it probably could be.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
usually you're a little bit more animated in the in the facial department when that sort of thing starts happening to you.
The only thing you see is Forrest Whitaker's face.
Just want a pint, maybe 2 pints at the Crown.
We end up at the penis scene, which is a landmark scene in cinema, I would say. It is.
They would say it kind of bridges a lot of kind of different cultural gaps in cinema.
Yeah.
I feel like. And
it's
I kind
a
of
game
feel
changer,
like
this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of say that like European cinema just in general is very good at doing this. And I guess like pushing the envelope a little bit. But if you were to speak to people within the culture itself, like the cinema audience scores for, you know, say like the country of origin, you'd be like, yeah, whatever. Because you know what? Again, like with the Crying Game, with a lot of the stuff that we cover, I mean, I was like, no, the dick scene's coming up. And you're like, no, it isn't. And I'm like, no, it is. Like, we're near the end of the film. Like, we've got half an hour left, probably after this scene happens. Like, the film is going to end. I can't remember how, like, in your face this bit is.
No, I couldn't.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, there it is.
It's right. It's right there. Full frame. It's, it was, I couldn't remember.
And Stephen Rea, like, Stephen Rea's face, Rea's face.
Stephen Rea.
I've spent fucking almost 15-something years saying Stephen Rea because it's spelt exactly the same way as Chris Rea, the popular musician, driving home for Christmas. You know, like that is like that's it. But I mean, this. I've only just figured out his second name's Ray. Maybe they only assumed that it was Ray because Stephen Rea is incapable of elongating vowels. I'm assuming.
Okay, well, at
I
an
guess
hour...
I'll just do the film, I suppose. I was asked to do the film, and I did the film, and
It was much easier in those days.
I don't know what it was. Someone just gave me a phone call, and I met them, and I read the script.
At an hour, 1 minute, and 29 seconds
I saw a dick.
When we saw a dick.
I saw a dick.
Everybody saw a dick.
It
changed
inches away from my face.
Everything. Those inches were inches from my face.
It's yeah, like I said, I think at the beginning of the episode, this is pivotal in that it's written into the film. This needs to happen in order for the film to progress properly.
So there was a conversation that Stephen Rea and Neil Jordan had, and apparently so Stephen said before he'd even gotten the script, they had dinner together. And Neil goes, "Do you want to do this movie?" And he explained the whole story, and then he says, and then they go back to her apartment and she undresses and she's a guy. And then Stephen Rea immediately said, "I'll do it." And then he also said, I'll do it.
Oi, oi.
But then he goes, "I don't think I'd ever seen a penis on screen before." That's what Stephen said. I don't even know how many more times I can reiterate that this like changes everything. It's so pivotal in this film, and it's so pivotal in the way that full frontal male nudity was used and like utilized in film from this point.
Okay.
It's like a very shocking moment. It's very melodramatic. It puts, and that's kind of why I was saying before, like there's all these moments leading up to this one really important time where you could have seen a penis. There are penises everywhere. Penises in people's hands, penises in people's mouths, penises in this other guy's hand, but you don't see them,
There's dicks and hands
and then
everywhere.
There's just a human standing in front of another human, balls out, and you never expected to see it. And that's why it was, shocking and interesting and fascinating. And, you have this man who's falling in love with this woman. And then, it just kind of topsy-turvy turns his life inside out.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's crazy.
Yeah. But like we say, I mean, it's pivotal. It's pivotal in the sense that you need it for this film and it's the only way that makes it shocking.
Yeah.
Is that it has to be right there in your face in the exact same sort of frame and eye line as Fergus would be seeing it in actuality.
Yeah. We're seeing that dick through his eyes.
Oh, yeah, big time. Big time. To the point where it's kind of... Because I guess like all of the rest of the scenes, or certainly we could argue that a lot of the scenes that we have covered are relatively incidental. And that's essentially the way that I've looked at the scenes that we have covered is that they're not... The dick's presence is not essential to driving the story forward.
Right.
You know? So if we take this as like a benchmark moment, and I think we've kind of used that to cover more than one scene, but this is like it's essential to driving the plot forward. It's essential to driving the story forward. So I guess like this is probably one of the main reasons why this film just did not garner the same amount of success, or let's say any sort of swiftness towards it getting into production, was just purely because like this is it. Like this is the way this film is going to be. There's nothing you can change about it.
Right. And I mean, and you're talking about success in the way of like maybe commercially. Is that what you mean? Because it was definitely a success in terms of...
Well, let's put it this way. I mean, there was plenty of films with dicks in them that had commercial success. Well, when did Room with a View come out? Because that film didn't need a dick in it.
No,
didn't need it at all. But it's there.
But it's so good.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but that's not the main focus of that movie.
No, that's what I mean,
that's why
though.
People forget about the penises in A Room with a View, is because you don't think about it.
No.
But in this, you don't think about anything other than this.
Yeah, this is pivotal. Yeah.
You know, you've got incidental dicks. You've got comedy dicks. This is essential dicks.
Yeah, this is essential. And I mean this in the essential part of, like, it is part of the story. It's not like your Boogie Nights dick, which isn't even real, but we'll cover that when we do that episode on its own.
Yeah.
But, like, at no point are you like, oh, that Boogie Nights is just referencing Raging Bull at that point.
What do you mean?
The end of Raging Bull, he's Jake LaMotta's like revving himself up in the dressing room before he goes on stage.
Oh, right.
That's basically what that scene.
Your big bright shining star.
Big bright shining star. That's basically what that is. It doesn't need to exist. It just happens to be there. With this, though, it's a pivotal character reveal moment, and it's essential to the storytelling.
Well, that's another thing where you're like waiting and waiting and waiting, and you're talking about it, so you expect to see it, which is why that is so different from this, when you're not talking about it at all, because it never existed.
Yeah.
Until this moment.
It'd be very hard.
He even says it later in the movie.
To get around it.
Yeah. He even says later on, he goes, you know, I wish you could go back to being a girl. And she's like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
You know, because he loves her.
Mm-hmm.
But when it finally comes out and Dill undresses and Fergus is obviously shocked and had no idea what was going on. And she goes, you did know, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And then a beat, and then, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, he had no idea that the Metro was a gay bar.
Yeah, I mean, I would even go further to say it's more a trans bar than just a gay bar. Like, it's that.
It's for everybody bar.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obviously a hub for that subculture.
Right.
You know? So
yeah, definitely a hub for that community.
It's a safe haven for people to go to. Like, that's just kind of how that is.
And he just didn't, I don't know. He didn't think about it.
No. I don't think any of it did. But then he's like, he's from a culture himself, very much rooted in conservatism. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's expecting to take off Dill's dress and see a cock there.
No,
like, that's just not the way. Plus, they did a very good job in the casting, in that visually, Jay Davison doesn't look like a dude.
Very feminine features.
Incredibly feminine.
Yeah, I know when they were casting this movie, I think I don't know if it was the production company, the studio, or the executives, or whoever wanted it to be a woman. Just cast a woman. And then to play the man.
Because it would be too difficult. And there's certain times when you can't get away from. I mean, I talk about, like, you know, his hands. His hands are massive. Like, when they touch, like, Stephen's face, either Stephen has a tiny head or those fucking hands are huge.
It's quite a sad moment where you have this people who, I mean, they kind of, I don't know, fell into this romantic and sexual relationship like fairly quickly within days.
Yeah.
Of meeting each other. And when this happens, he just says like, oh, I'm gonna be sick after just staring at that penis.
Yeah, he just fucking straight up vomits.
Just runs past her and pushes her over, and she's on the floor.
Smacks her in the face.
I don't think he meant to do that.
No, I mean her nose starts bleeding and stuff like that.
She has that.
But like her whole world kind of starts tumbling down. Yeah. But it's just a clash of cultures.
Yeah,
like that's
definitely.
basically what happens there.
Yeah.
And you're kind of, I guess, like he's kind of lulled into this kind of sense of security with the fact that, you know, they did kidnap a soldier, a British soldier. They just so happened to kidnap a soldier who's gay and leaning towards a male companion than a female companion.
Yes.
It's as simple as that, you know. So I guess like that's what kind of lulls, you know, Fergus into this false sense of security. But the thing is like he's not in love with Dill because of her body.
Correct.
He's in love with her as a person.
Right.
And that's kind of where the toing and throwing comes.
Yeah, that's the conflict within him, you know, even though, I mean, and you can say whatever you want about people falling in love over a span of a couple days.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it doesn't usually happen.
No, it's a little bit silly, but I'm just going to take it in the context of this film because I love it.
It is also a film as well.
Yeah.
It's also a story.
Let these babies fall in love.
Yeah. But I guess like...
I love it for them.
You know, they fall out with each other, they get back together, all that. So there's that great bit where she visits the building site.
Oh, yeah.
And they've got like that fucking, the racist...
oh my god, yeah, it was like the owner of the building that they're constructing,
pretty much,
who says horribly racist things to Fergus.
mostly like horrible Irish slurs, which were probably not there is hints at the fact that like obviously Jody, because he's black, he's getting called all sorts of things. Like there is a point where Ray, he goes, "You ever pick your teeth up with broken fingers?" And the guy goes, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, well,
I love that.
It means like he's gonna break your fingers, and then he's gonna punch your mouth out with all your teeth, and then he's gonna tell you, pick them up.
I like when he says that too, because he says that, and then
I wish he did explain.
And then Ray goes, "It's not a question."
No.
Or what? I don't know. He said something like that, but it made me laugh. Tough guy.
Big broken fingers.
He's a tough guy.
What did you say? I'm leaving now.
There's a thing that Dill says in the movie, which is never let the sun go down on an argument. And I just want to bring up that Matt Dillon also said that in Wild Things when he was having that threesome.
That's true. I mean, we were talking about like the latent racism and stuff like that, but everyone thinks all the Irish people in this movie are from Scotland.
That is true.
And I get that all the time here, and everyone thinks I'm Irish.
Yeah.
Or at least I feel like I have a kindred spirit, you know, Celtically, if that's even a word. Like, yeah, I'm quite happy to deal with that side of things. But yeah, either way.
That was a really weird joke, and I feel like maybe
I'm not a pig.
Because Dill kept thinking that he was Scottish. And I'm wondering if that's something that maybe Neil Jordan has dealt with in his life because he wrote the movie, you know?
But then, yeah, a whole bunch of shit goes down. We're not gonna spoil any of it because I think it's pretty cool. Plus, I don't need to explain.
You spoiled it for me earlier because I had forgotten the movie.
Either way,
that's okay. I forgive you.
Either way, the film closes with "Stand by Your Man." Stand by your man. Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting choices of songs.
Yeah, because there's an alternate ending to this movie as well, where they try to make things a bit more light than they are, and it just kind of clashes.
It's interesting because
horribly with most of the film.
It's one of those rare times where the ending that they didn't want was filmed first. Like they had to do it for the studios because the studio's like, I don't like the ending that you wrote, and so they had to.
Yeah, it was film for.
Yeah. So they had to write a whole other ending that was all cutesy and fake and bullshit that no one liked, everyone hated, but they filmed the whole thing and spent a ton of money on their zero budget that they
Well, it's
had.
just the desperate attempt to try and make this relatively unmarketable product marketable to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
But then what they find is that it just ruins the film. So they
Yeah.
end up having to shoot the original ending anyway.
Yeah,
which,
they all
I
knew
mean, it
it
just
wasn't-
works. Yeah, it
Yeah.
just works overall. But yeah, that's the Crying Game.
I have quite a few things that I want to say.
Oh my god.
So, let me see. Maybe I should talk about the accolades first.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've done my notes.
You
So,
did?
I mean,
Oh my gosh, I have so many
yeah,
more.
so I'm expecting
I got
this
some
to
weird
be
stuff to say.
well. Just give me the fucking hard.
Okay, here
Hard
are the
facts.
awards. So this won Best Original Screenplay. Neil Jordan won that at the Oscars.
Oh, okay.
And it was nominated for tons of other things. Like Stephen Rea was nominated for Best Actor. We have Supporting Actor, Editing, Best Picture, Director. Like, it was nominated for all of the awards,
Whole bunch.
but didn't win.
Okay.
But it's interesting because when they did win for Best Original Screenplay, Neil Jordan was at the bar. I guess they changed the order or something, and he didn't know. And so they were like calling his name, and he had to run from the bar all the way up to the front to get his award.
I like Neil Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fun lad.
It did win BAFTA for Best Film.
Yeah, see, that's fine. Yeah, it's good because
Um,
it did eventually get picked up. Like, it's an MGM release, The Crying Game. So I mean, it did get picked up and it did get itself out there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and these awards and the nominations and stuff like that would have elevated and gave it something. What else is on your list, Laura?
Okay, so Stephen Rea was talking in an interview, and he said that the title of the film in China is, "Oh no, my girlfriend has a penis." I'm not even kidding. Stephen Rea said that in an interview.
Hey, look, I mean, at least nothing's getting spoiled for anybody.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it's straight up on Front Street.
Stephen Rea's ex-wife, who was his wife at the time, was actually in the IRA. And she was put
Okay.
in prison.
Well, that's not surprising.
And she was involved in the car bombing at the Old Bailey.
Fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not expect to hear that today.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
She died maybe 7 years ago. I think it was like 2015. She passed away.
In prison?
No, she was released from prison and then they got divorced.
Of course.
And I think they got divorced in 2008. I might be getting my dates mixed up, but yeah, they found her in her flat. But I think, yeah.
It's a sad, horrible fucking chapter in British and Irish history.
Yeah.
So,
One day, Jay Davison was sick on set, and the doctor came in and asked him if he might be pregnant.
wow.
Yep.
Wow, what a fantastic doctor.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Christ.
also, during the whole time we were watching this movie, I go, I know Miranda Richardson. What is she from? What is she from? And then I remembered she played Rita Skeeter in the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah. She's also in...
She's in tons of stuff, but like
yeah, she's in a ton of
specifically, I remember her as Rita Skeeter
Oh, okay.
from Harry Potter.
Yeah, that series of films
Yep.
I can't stand.
And we talked in the beginning of the movie about who would win the crying game if it was a game. Who cried the most? And the winner is Dill.
Yay.
Dill cried the most.
Jodie does cry.
Yes,
He
because
does get
he's
a little
going
bit too...
to
Because he's
die.
going to get shot.
Yes.
Yeah, so we did play the crying game ourselves, and I don't know, like, out of the both of us, who do you think cries more? Probably me, right?
Yeah, maybe you.
Yeah, probably me, yeah, because I'm fucked in the head. So,
Okay, Ryan, here we are. We've come to it. I want to know your final ratings, visibility and context. Give me what you got.
5.
That is a correct answer.
Good. That's good.
I mean,
God. I know.
It wasn't a test, but
And
also
she pulled out a fucking gun, and she was like,
yeah,
click.
pistol whip you in the face.
Fucking do it.
What's your answer?
Yeah. You know, no, I mean, yeah, no, I'd say 5. It's like, contextually, I think it's probably the most accurate one we've had thus far out of 18 something episodes. It's probably one of the most important ones.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's essential to the plot, and it moves the story forward. So it has to be a 5-star film because it's not incidental in any way, shape, or form. So
Yeah.
there you go. That is my That's my meat.
Yep. Oh, well, your meat indeed. So 5 stars also for me in terms of visibility and context, because it changes everything, and maybe not everything, but in terms of full frontal male nudity in film, it's different. It is important, and it's interesting, and it's perfect. So I'm going to say that about every film that we do, because every time there's male nudity, I'm like, it's perfect.
Yeah, it does kind of sound a little bit like a broken record. But,
okay, well,
yeah.
Well, my bad. But it also changes things in terms of how penises are depicted, and, the male form of itself, how it's depicted in film. So I don't think that we've had anything quite like this in a film up until this point.
No.
Because it hasn't been depicted in this way.
No.
So, it's usually uber masculine, or it's in there as a joke, or comic relief.
Yeah.
This isn't any of those things.
No. It's not funny.
No.
This film isn't very funny.
No, it's the drama penis.
Mm-hmm.
Is this one, but it's still very important, and
All right.
That's it. So okay, so then give me your film rating.
5 stars.
5 stars. Oh shit!
Yeah, I really
this
like
might
this
be
film.
Your first 5 and 5. Double
yeah,
fives.
probably. Yeah, probably.
Wow.
Might be the only one.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. We don't cover a lot of films that I like.
That is so not true. That is so not true, Ryan.
I don't know. I'm
going to go back on the list, because you're always surprised. And I remember when we started this podcast way back when, you said, I think about the films that I like, and I don't think there's any penises in it. But then boom, boom, time and time again, pulling out the bangers.
Yeah, I know.
You're always surprised.
Yeah, quite literally pulling out the bangers.
That's right.
Yeah, no, it's just because I'm not a fucking cock whore. Like, I'm not like, wow, there it is right there. Like, I'm kind of engrossed in the story.
Well, I hope that I'm changing things for you.
Yeah.
And I hope
and
that
that's
you're
not to say
learning.
that's not why I didn't call you that. I'm just saying I don't.
I am.
I'm not like it's not the Mr. Wall like
wrong.
Where's Waldo of
That's me though.
searching. Yeah, it's no Where's Willie, or technically it's not Where's Waldo back home. It is Where's Willie.
Perfect.
Yeah, back home.
That's me.
Waldo didn't translate over to the European.
Well, I don't know what
audience.
Waldo is either. For me, I'm going back and forth. I gave it a 5, but I'd given it a 4 before. And so I think I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Okay.
And I'll have to change it on Letterboxd, because I keep going back and forth. I mean, these things are fluid. They change. But today I feel 4.5 because I really, really like it. And
Gender
it was
fluid?
Super interesting to revisit this film after so long.
Okay.
And I look forward to doing it again, because I very much liked it.
Yes.
Very much enjoyed this film. Very much.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very.
Very, very. I'm going to go for a quick pint in the Crown. Maybe 2.
I'll go for a quick pint at the Metro. Or a margarita.
Or a bottle of Guinness.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for being here and sharing The Crying Game, one of the most important male nude movies that we've ever done.
Yeah.
And I'd like to do this episode again sometime. I liked it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to, but that's fine.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Well, thanks again. I have been Laura.
I am still Ryan. Nothing has changed in the last hour and 15 minutes. Jesus.
Coming to you from the Metro. We'll see you again next time. Thanks, guys.
Goodbye.